You understand this, obviously. Politically, it's lakum dinukum waliya din. It's the Meccan phase. You do what you're doing, but don't expect me to say that worshipping other than Allah is acceptable. You may worship other than Allah, and that is your freedom to do so in the lands that we're living in. Okay, but do not force me to say that I think it is permissible to worship other than Allah. Now, this is the issue that we're now grappling with now. To what level of quote-unquote compromise should we do? And of course, as you know, my position, I think, is pretty clear that we are neither left nor right. We are neither, liberal or conservative. We have our own values. And I don't think it is correct to ally ourselves with any one strand against the other. But the problem is, at least in America, maybe in Europe it's different, we don't have enough critical mass to really form our own independent party. I think Muslims in France, Muslims maybe even in some places in England, do have that critical mass. And I think that they have more of a footing to stand on. But I think what the Europeans don't understand is that we are less than 1% of America.
Really?
Less than 1% of America. Very small. It sounds like a lot. It seems like a lot. That's because America has 350 million. So in the larger cities, when you have conventions of 20, 30,000 people, because again, where are the Muslims concentrated? In the larger cities.
So in the cities, they are concentrated.
In the larger cities, yes.
The states, they are concentrated.
Yeah, I mean, in New York, Chicago, Houston, LA, New York is the highest percentage. Yeah. New York is, some say, up to like 5%, 10%. Okay, maybe, but New York, but that's an exception. You go to the average city or town, just like in England. If you go up an hour or two, how many Muslims be living in those small villages or towns? So those percentages, or is it those? What is Leicester is number one, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Leicester or Birmingham, one of the two.
Somebody told me Leicester last year.
Was it a Gujarati person that told you Leicester?
Yes, 40%. He said, I couldn't believe it. He said 40% of that city is like what?
That's why I voted Brexit.
No, what they mean is probably 40% of it is owned by Muslims. Mashallah, the Gujaratis and the Memons.
Mashallah. Okay. The point is we don't have anywhere close to those percentages in some cities.
But you have a vision to eventually for Muslims to do their own politics, not necessarily in a party, but to
eventually, once the critical mass comes, I think it is important because these are some of the challenging issues. What does it mean to be a Muslim in a liberal democracy? What does it mean to have enough critical mass to influence politicians and to get into politics? These are fatwa and issues where, again, with utmost respect, you can't go to Timbuktu. You will have to have local ulama, along with local academics, along with local MPs, along with local people who understand how it functions, come together in a room and put forth a vision. And that vision is never going to be 100% right. You will learn from experience. But again, you cannot outsource the future of Islam in Britain to Muslims in Timbuktu. And you understand I'm using Timbuktu as an example. In reality, it boils down to one country. So
what's Timbuktu done 21?
It's Allah's qadr, what trials we face. And the way that I see it, this is our generation and our trials. This is what our literally our jihad is going to be in fighting this Islamophobia, in reclaiming our true Islamic identity. This is our struggle. Our jihad with the small j, in the spiritual jihad, this is our spiritual jihad.
Bold font.
Yes, exactly. Italicized and So this is what I think our role in life is to make sure that we pass Islam down to our next generations and preserve our securities and freedoms in these lands.
I mean, when